Are you interested in becoming a corporate trainer but not sure which skills you need to be successful? Well, then you're in the right place. Hey, it's Jeff with yourlearningcareer.com. In this video, I'm going to look at 6 essential skills for being a successful corporate trainer. And this is based on my own experience. I've been in corporate training and development for over 25 years. I've worked for a variety of companies, including Walt Disney World, IBM, CarMax, to name a few. And I'm going to share these skills that I feel have been the most instrumental in my career success as a corporate trainer. So let's get started. First and foremost, the most obvious skill that probably jumps into your head for corporate training is what? Public speaking, right? Public speaking / presentation skills. Absolutely, yes, this is a very important skill that you'll want to have. You need to be comfortable getting up in front of an audience. You need to have some basic platform skills. You need to be able to hold an audience's attention. So yes, most definitely public speaking / presentation skills, definitely a very important skill. You might be surprised though to learn that these next 5 skills I'm going to tell you about are actually even more important than the public speaking. The first one I want to start with is compassion and empathy. I was teaching a class on customer service to a group of call center employees. And I noticed that several of them, well, I was noticing some body language. I was noticing some facial expressions. I was noticing things that were telling me these people are not into whatever I'm saying. They are not into this training at all. Now, unfortunately, a lot of trainers, especially when you're first starting out and you don't have a lot of confidence yet, a lot of people starting out will take that personally, and they will have this whole dialogue in their head about these difficult participants. Oh, this class has a bad attitude. These are difficult participants. And that's very easy to do. And I've been guilty of that myself. So I'm not trying to be on a high horse here. I've done it myself plenty. But as an experienced trainer, I knew that if I ignored this behavior, that my training was going to go nowhere. So I addressed it head on. I said to the class, I said, hey, tell me what's happening. Tell me what you're thinking. And one of the people said to me, you know, we've been being told by management that we have to answer calls and finish the calls in this set amount of time. And now you're telling us all of these different things we're supposed to do as part of customer service. And the big thing I'm thinking about is how I'm now if I try to do all these things that you're telling us, I'm going to get in trouble for not making my time limit. No wonder they were not super happy about what I was telling them, because they were worried about getting in trouble on the job. And now that I understood their concern, I was able to address it. Because the thing is, their managers knew about this training and they knew the content of the training and they'd signed off on it. They had given it their blessing. So I knew that there was a disconnect somewhere. So instead of plowing on with my planned agenda, I stopped and we had a dialogue. And I had them tell me more about these time limits. And I told them, I said, listen, obviously, I can't wave a wand and solve all of this right now in this class. What I can do though, is I'm taking notes and I'm going to take this information back to your management. And once we had that discussion and they saw that I was on their side, I was able to continue the class and it went great. They participated, they asked questions, and I ended up having a very successful class. But that would have never happened if I hadn't shown the empathy and compassion with my audience before just plowing on. So you've got to be able to put yourself in your learner's shoes. So that is skill number 2. And right along with that is skill 3, which is listening. When we think of a trainer, when we think of training, teaching, etc., presenting, we think of talking. And unfortunately, that is what a lot of trainers end up doing. They do a lot of talking and they don't do a lot of listening. That can get you so far if you're good at it. If you're good and you can make it entertaining and interesting to listen to, you can go a long way. But if you really want to separate yourself, that listening is key. And you got to do it as soon as from the moment your audience, your learners walk in the room, you are listening. I listen to them before class even starts. I use these things to personalize the class, to connect with them. So I listen before the class starts. I listen during the class. I listen to the questions they ask. I listen to what they comment on and what they do throughout the various activities. And that way I know if we're heading in the right direction or if maybe I need to pause. Sometimes based on questions or other things I hear, I realize, oh, I was only going to spend 10 minutes on this topic, but now that I've heard these questions and observed some of these things, I know now I need to spend more time on that. Or maybe I realize, oh, this class actually has a really good handle on that. I don't need to spend as much time on that. By listening, it allows you to be flexible and know where you need to go with the class. So it is absolutely key to develop that listening skill. Skill number 4 is being enthusiastic about your material. My first big training class that I got to do, and I've mentioned this in other videos, so I apologize if you've heard this before, but one of my big classes that I got to do was Walt Disney World Tradition. Basically, I got to talk about Disney and Disney World all day long. Not only that, so I got to talk about Walt Disney, I got to talk about company history, I got to actually go into the park, and we even got to go under the park into the tunnels. It was awesome. Was it hard for me to be enthusiastic about that class? Not one bit. Being enthusiastic for a class like that is way easy. Anybody can do it. Unfortunately, most of us, and myself included, that was only a small sliver of the classes that I have taught throughout the years. As the trainer, you need to be able to demonstrate that kind of enthusiasm regardless of the topic. I had to teach a class on equal employment opportunity. Wow, when my boss told me that, I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. This is so boring. What am I gonna do with this? And that might be your reaction too at times when there are certain classes that you have to teach. But again, as a trainer, you have got to find a way to make that topic interesting. Because if you go into a class with an attitude, if I would have kept that bad attitude and gone in and taught that EEO class, it would have been a disaster. It would have been boring. My participants they can see. They can tell when you are not into your topic. So you have got to find a way to connect to that material so that you can then connect to your audience. And the way I did that with that topic, and actually many more since, was through skill number 5, storytelling. Any topic you can think of, you can build a story with it. And a story can be a literal story, but you can also tell stories through things like case studies and examples. And that's what I did with the EEO class. The stories I used to make that class interesting to myself and to the class, the stories were court cases. I found a bunch of court cases that illustrated the various EEO laws that I had to train about. So by doing that, it really helped my learners to understand where all of this EEO policy fits in the real world, because they could see, oh, this happened to this person at their workplace and they sued, and this is how the court ruled. And I actually made a game out of it where I had them try to guess, which way the court case went. And it made it a lot more relatable, and they got a lot more out of the class. And I was able to genuinely be enthusiastic about the topic, which made the class a whole lot better for everyone. And then the last skill I wanted to talk about is actually a skill that takes place outside of the classroom. And that is the communication that you do before and after a class. That can really help set the stage, as well as it can also help with the learning afterwards. A lot of times questions will come up in class that maybe I don't have the answer to right then. And a lot of times I'll do a follow-up email afterwards to say, hey, this great question came up in class. I found out the answer. Here it is. So that is one more skill that I would say is very important if you really want to take your career to the next level. You can be an okay trainer if you just focus on the presentation skills and the public speaking. You can do okay. But the things that made companies want to hire me were those other 5 skills: the listening, the compassion, the empathy, the enthusiasm for my topic, regardless of what it was, the storytelling, and the communication. If you can get those down, you are going to be an awesome trainer. All right, so those are my 6 essential skills. If you liked this, if you found it helpful, please give me a like. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. For more information on a corporate training career, I will put a bunch of great links in the description. I've got some articles I've written. I've got some other videos for you to watch. I'll also link to those here. So do check all of that out if you want more information. And as always, I thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.